Hi everyone, welcome to the fifth video in our series of frameworks from No Startup Hipsters. I'm Samir, and today we're going to talk about something rather interesting. Oftentimes when you talk to startup founders or entrepreneurs, you keep hearing about, oh, I don't have enough money, I wish I could do this, or I have to give away so much equity when I raise around, or I don't have enough money to pay this developer or that designer, or I don't know how to get in touch with this person to get him to do something. What we've realized is we seriously underestimate the amount of social capital we've got, A, and B, that there are multiple incentives that you can give to people who you need them to do something for you. Let's walk through certain examples. Angel investors is something that most startups do deal with, and a lot of the time they just look at angel investors as one of their sources of capital. But what you're really missing out on is most angels are very experienced individuals, take a big deal of interest in your startup, and they have a lot of experience that they can provide you. In return, what you have to understand is a lot of them are at very senior levels and have done quite a lot professionally. Most of the times they're really bored out of their minds. And it's amazing for them to be involved in something as exciting as your startup. You're working on something cool, you're a bunch of young professionals with a lot of energy, and what you can give them is excitement. What you can take from them is a lot of experience. This is what we call a give and take model, where I've just highlighted one on each side, but you can actually build out for each single stakeholder. When I say stakeholder, it could be a partner, supplier, investor, employee, or someone outside the organization, on what can you give and what can you take, which are not financial incentives. Think about angel investors as the best employees that you can never afford to hire. And what can you offer them, because you can't pay them cash and you don't want to give away that much equity. Equity should be the last thing that you give away. Now, as we move on to the PR side and publicity side of things, everybody wants to do great PR releases for their products. But is it that easy to get hold of journalists? After sending thousands of emails to generic journalist emails, most entrepreneurs end up with a lot of frustration. What makes a lot more sense is creating a personalized quality story that fits already into the profile of specific journalists. Of course, that needs a lot more work. You have to watch what they've written previously, who do they write for, what is their value system, does it align with the product or service that you're building. But in return, what you do get from them is a very passionate level of coverage that creates a more emotive bond with their followers. Now let's talk about something slightly unconventional, where give and take can be very, very beneficial. I'll give you one small example. Let's say in the US, today there is someone who's built a website for, are you eligible for the green card? And there are various criteria, and especially for a highly skilled migrant population in the US, to get a green card, he's got a calculator where he can take as data their monthly salaries, where do they spend, and all sorts of habits. And most of the people who are indeed looking for a green card conversion after being on a high skilled like H1B for a long time tend to be reasonably affluent. Think about another startup, say somebody like Betterment or Wealth Fund, which is doing wealth management for that specific customer segment. You suddenly have two startups which do not compete in the markets, in their products and services, but they are servicing the exact same marketplace. If both of them can exchange their contact lists or user lists, suddenly they have leads which will have a lot higher conversion rate, and they can exchange it even one to one. You didn't spend a single dollar on marketing, and you just acquired a whole database of leads. But somebody else who has the exact same market as you, selling a completely different product and service, and is never going to be a competitor. It's a mutually beneficial situation. Have you thought about how can you better leverage everyone who is within 2 to 3 degrees of separation from you, and how can you compensate them? What are their incentives? What are their motivations? Without cash, without equity. If you truly put your brains to this, you're going to come up with some exceptional answers to these questions and realize you have a lot more resources than you thought you originally did. Thank you. Have a nice day.